I woke up to a sound that didn't belong anywhere on Earth. It wasn't an alarm. It wasn't machinery. It was a soft, rhythmic tone, almost musical, rising and falling in perfect intervals. For a few seconds, I thought I was dreaming. Then I tried to move. Pain answered first. It rolled through my chest like fire, sharp and deep, followed by a dull pressure that made breathing feel like work. I gasped and felt cool air rush across my skin, far too clean, far too sterile. My eyes snapped open. The ceiling above me wasn't a ceiling at all. It was translucent, glowing faintly with slow-moving patterns of blue and silver, like light filtering through water. Shapes drifted beyond it, massive, indistinct forms sliding past as if the room itself were moving. I wasn't in a hospital. I wasn't on Earth. Panic surged, but my body refused to follow. Whatever I was lying on hummed softly beneath me, holding me still. I turned my head, heart hammering, and froze. Someone was standing beside me. She was tall, slender, wrapped in a smooth, pale uniform that looked grown rather than sewn. Her skin shimmered faintly, not a single color but a gradient, soft blues and pearlescent whites that shifted as she moved. Her eyes were large, dark, and impossibly focused on me. Alien wasn't a strong enough word. She noticed my movement instantly. "You are awake," she said.
Her voice was calm,
gentle, and perfectly clear. In English. I tried to speak. My throat felt raw. Where am I?" Her expression changed just slightly. Something like relief passed over her features. "You are aboard the Tetherian medical vessel Solace," she replied. "You were critically injured during first contact engagement orbiting your homeworld." My mind raced. First contact. Engagement. Memories slammed back into me. The blinding flash over the Pacific. The scramble in mission control. The unknown object dropping out of nowhere. Too fast, too precise. The emergency launch. Me, strapped into a prototype defense craft that wasn't meant for combat. The explosion. I swallowed hard. Earth was attacked. "No," she said quickly. "There was no invasion. There was fear. On both sides." She stepped closer, and I realized her hands, long-fingered, delicate, were hovering just above my chest, guiding thin streams of light that sank into my skin. I couldn't feel pain from it, only warmth. "You intercepted a Tetherian scout ship," she continued. "Your vessel was damaged protecting a populated region. You lost consciousness shortly after." Protecting. That part made sense. It was the only thing I'd had time to do. "How long?" I asked. "How long have I been out?" She hesitated. 37 of your days." My heart skipped. "A month?" "You were near death for most of it," she said softly. "Your species is remarkably resilient, but your biology was unfamiliar to us. We had to learn quickly." I stared at her. "So you just took me?" Her gaze didn't waver. "We saved you." The way she said it, simple, certain, cut through my fear more than any reassurance could. "What's your name?" I asked. "I am called Salith," she replied. "I am a senior medical caretaker. In your language, the closest term is nurse." A strange laugh escaped me, half hysterical. Figures. First alien I meet is a nurse. Her lips curved upward. A smile.
Real. Warm.
"Yes," she said. "And you are the most difficult patient I have ever treated." Over the next several days, Salith explained everything. The Tetherians weren't conquerors. They were explorers, old, cautious, and deeply afraid of emerging civilizations. Earth's sudden leap in detection technology had startled them. My interception of their scout ship had nearly sparked a war. Nearly. They'd chosen restraint, observation, withdrawal. Except for me. You were different, Salith told me as she adjusted the field stabilizing my ribs. You did not flee. You did not attempt to communicate. You placed your vessel between ours and your planet. I didn't have time to think, I said. People were down there. That, she said quietly, is why the Council spared your world. I stared at her. You're saying I saved Earth? I am saying, she replied, that you reminded us of something we had forgotten. Humanity. The word spread quickly among the crew. The lone human survivor. The one who chose sacrifice without understanding the cost. Some watched me with awe. Others with unease. But Salith stayed. Every day. She monitored my recovery, taught me how to walk again under the ship's artificial gravity, explained Hetherian customs, their ethics, their fears. In return, I told her about Earth, about music, about coffee, about how humanity argued endlessly but united instantly when something threatened home. You are chaotic, she said once, almost fondly. Yeah, I replied. We get that a lot. As my strength returned, I began to notice things. How Salith's hands lingered a moment longer than necessary. How her voice softened when she spoke to me compared to others. How she stayed even after her shift ended, watching the stars with me through the observation dome. One cycle, as the ship drifted between systems, she stood beside me in silence. Salith, I said, why are you really here? She took a long moment before answering. Because, she said, when you first woke, you looked at me with fear and still asked where you were instead of who I was. I frowned. What does that mean? It means, she said, meeting my eyes, you were more concerned about your place in the universe than the creature standing beside you. My heart thudded. Is that bad? No, she whispered. It is rare. Everything changed the day the Council summoned me. The chamber was vast, circular, filled with beings of light, flesh, and forms I couldn't begin to describe. Salith stood behind me, not touching, but close enough that I felt her presence like an anchor. You represent a risk, one of the counselors said. Your species is young, aggressive, unpredictable. True, I said. But we're learning. Learning too fast, another replied. They debated openly, as if I weren't there. Observation, isolation, intervention. Finally, one voice rose above the rest. What would you have us do, human? I swallowed. Let us know you exist. Don't guide us. Don't protect us. Just don't hide. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Why? The voice asked. I glanced back at Salith. Because, I said, fear grows in the dark. And humans do stupid things when we're afraid of what we don't understand. Silence. At last, the Council spoke. We will reveal ourselves, they said. Slowly. Carefully. Through you. Through me. The weight of it nearly crushed me. After the session, Salith found me alone in the observation dome. They're sending you home, she said. My chest tightened. You're not coming. It wasn't a question. I cannot, she replied. My duty is here. I nodded, pretending I'd expected that. She stepped closer. Closer than ever before. When you first awoke, she said, voice trembling slightly, you asked where you were, not who I was. I smiled faintly. Yeah. You mentioned that. Her eyes shone. Now I must ask you something. I met her gaze. Anything. She took a breath. When you return to your world, she said, and they ask you what you found among the stars, what will you tell them? I didn't hesitate. I'll tell them, I said, that the first alien I met was a nurse who saved my life and reminded me why humanity matters. Her hand brushed mine just once, Then, she whispered, my work was worth it. I woke up on Earth 3 days later, surrounded by doctors, cameras, officials demanding answers. I gave them the truth, and somewhere, far beyond the stars, I knew Salith was watching, listening, as humanity took its first real step into the wider universe. Not as conquerors, but as something far more dangerous.
Hope.
The world never really slowed down after that. Within weeks of my return, the skies above Earth changed forever. Not with fleets or weapons, but with light. Gentle, controlled appearances over oceans and uninhabited regions. Tetherian vessels, distant and unmistakable, visible long enough to be undeniable, then gone. Humanity panicked. Humanity argued. Humanity argued some more. But humanity didn't attack. That alone shocked the galaxy. I became a bridge whether I wanted to or not. I stood before councils, governments, and eventually the United Nations, repeating the same message Salith had trusted me to carry. They were afraid of us, I told them. Not because we're violent, but because we're willing to stand in front of danger without understanding it. Scientists confirmed what the Tetherians already knew. My ship hadn't stood a chance that day. The maneuver I'd executed should have killed me instantly. Instead, it delayed the scout just long enough. Long enough for a decision to be made. Years passed. Human technology accelerated, not through gifts, but through inspiration. Knowing we weren't alone lit a fire under every discipline. Medicine, energy, spaceflight, cooperation where rivalry once ruled. And every time humanity took a step forward, another species leaned closer from the dark, watching, waiting. Late one night, long after the interview stopped and the crowds faded, I stood alone beneath the stars. That familiar hum reached my ears again. A ripple in the air, a glow. I didn't reach for a weapon. I didn't run. I smiled. The light resolved into a single figure. Salith stood before me, her skin shimmering softly beneath Earth's sky. She looked exactly as I remembered, calm, luminous, impossibly steady. You healed, she said. So did we, I replied. She stepped closer, eyes reflecting the constellations of my home world. The council now teaches about you, she said. About humans. About the species that chooses sacrifice before certainty. I let out a quiet laugh. We're still a mess. Yes, she said warmly. But you face the universe anyway. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said the words that had once stopped my heart. Your people are ready. I looked up at the stars, no longer distant, no longer silent. And for the first time in human history, the universe felt reachable. Not because we were the strongest, but because we were willing to stand up, alone if necessary, and say, this world matters. We matter. And now, the stars knew it.